All right, everybody. Excuse me. All right, everybody. Welcome in to the second of two streams that I, Pugs Moran, do here each and every day on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. First one is called High Noon. That comes on. That's Pugs and Company presents High Noon. That is a rundown of all the day's current events, topics, trends, pop culture, whatever it is, headlines, all the things that people are talking about. We run through them at noon each and every day, and we try and get you caught up. We try and get you informed, but informed. At least you have cocktail party knowledge of whatever the hell is going on in the world. And then we come back here at 9 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Thursday nights, and we call it Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Hi, John. Look at John. We got John. John's in Toronto. John's Mr. all over the place. He's in a different place every single time he checks in. Always good to have you, John. You can join John in the chat room. Mix it up. Be nice. Don't be a dick. Don't be a troublemaker or whatever. I don't really care. I'm trying to pay more attention to the. Here's my issue. Hi, Byron. I get so distracted. I mean, like, if I could do an entire show just interacting with the chat room, and maybe that would be fine, but it would only serve, the 20 or so people in the chat room at any given time. So, hi, Cheryl. Hi from Regina. It's not Regina. It's Regina, right? And if we say that wrong down here, it's not, because it looks like Regina. It's Regina, Saskatchewan. Whatever. She's Canadian. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome in. We've got, who else? People filling in there in the chat room. I don't know where James is. James connected, but his camera's down. So, yeah, there we go. That's what we get with James right now. Who knows what's going on there? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring in James Parker. There he is. Look at him. Say it here.
Yes, my camera was like literally physically down. So you're absolutely right. It was down.
Oh, was it? Oh, well, that's unfortunate. All right, how are we going to do this?
Where's Kelly?
Yeah, I don't know. I sent Kelly the exact. There she is.
There she
All
is.
right.
Uh-huh.
More Monday. So
whenever you get around to it, it'd be nice to have you, Kelly.
There you go. Send her the same link that I sent you, but apparently I had to send her. What happened with the link, Kelly? Hi, Elise. All right, her mic's not on. she's new.
You're doing great, Kelly.
No, I'm not. I think Ed was telling me I don't close out the streams from the week before because this computer I only use for this.
Ooh, fancy.
No, not fancy. Cheap. We're just
unproductive.
Too cheap. Yeah, exactly. So that's, and I'm just like, it doesn't matter. My personal lack of computer info is not helping anyone else.
Well, you sound fine and you look fine. You're working. It's all together now. So no harm, no foul. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Elise. Hi, Byron. Hi, Cheryl.
Is April in there, my friend?
How can you not see April yourself? You don't,
because I have to then move this up and down because I can't see. April. They want me to get bifocals, and I'm too young for that.
Who's April, your friend?
Who is this Stacy girl? Stacy's kind of hot. Where's she been?
April's my friend. I don't know where April.
I'm sorry. Do you text with her? Because I text with her now.
Dang.
No, I don't. I don't text with her because that's like 2010. April and I go back and forth on notifications on Twitter.
I'm not always on
all the time.
I'm not always on line with that stuff.
I gotta troll Stacy's pictures real quick.
Well, what are you just
what the hell are you talking about?
Oh God, this goes right into something that I want to bring up, and I'll bring it up right at the top.
Oh no, what is it?
I have a question.
Oh shit!
While James creeps on some girl in the chat room.
Hold on, are we allowed to swear?
Yeah, fuck yeah. This is coming.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. I've been trying to refrain from it.
What do you think? Ed's gonna get you in trouble?
No, I doesn't care if I swear. I didn't know if you did. I don't know.
Hi, Terry. No, I don't care. We keep it to a minimum because we're not vulgarians, but
speak for yourself.
You can swear if you need to. All right. So while James creeps on some new girl in the chat room, I don't know how he does that.
No, I'm done. Well done, Stacy. I went through your pictures. Well done.
Wow. Okay.
Well done, he says.
Scumbag sign of approval.
You've never had a fight with your wife before. Maybe tonight might be the first time.
You think my wife's under the impression that all other women are ugly? You think she really thinks that? Maybe that's why we don't
No.
argue. Because I feel like digging into what the hell's going on with you, arguing with your husband every day. What the hell?
Dude, you weren't even here last weekend or this weekend.
This weekend?
I was
It's
going to
like
be
every
calling
weekend.
divorce lawyers this weekend. I kid you not.
Okay,
Do
time out. Chasing rabbits, radio professionals. Well, I just set up that I had a question while James was creeping, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
pushed to the back burner.
I know. I made it about me. I apologize. My bad.
But
It
this
really
is the second time we get to watch a marriage fall apart in front of our face, Pugs. You're not interested. It worked so well that last time.
James,
you know how much good radio content we got out of the her and Shemp divorce?
I've had front row seats to two of my own.
That was like 10 years ago.
Try 20.
20.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Please.
And it was
We even
fun.
get along well now.
All right, so let me ask you this. Today I had to go to Whole Foods, and I think you guys know my feeling on Whole Foods.
I
hate
hope so.
Foods.
Yeah,
I
me
hate
too.
Whole Foods, but it's like right at the end of the block. It's like the most convenient. I literally can
It's
walk.
the closest one. Yeah.
Right.
It must be good because we don't have one here.
It's. I will tell you this though. Something that I did discover about Whole Foods recently. Now that I'm like salad guy. Hi Jeff. Whole Foods, their produce is same or less than Kroger. I was shocked to learn this about.
You mean by price or quality?
By price? By price?
What?
Yeah.
What happened?
I had a lettuce. It's like $2.50 or something at Kroger. It's like $2.30 at Whole Foods. I got a jalapeno pepper for 37 cents. Just one.
I've got like 10 in my garden right now. If you want one,
just put one in the bag. I don't know if they'll travel well. Okay, so I had to go to. I had to go to Whole Foods, and one of the reasons that I like Whole Foods is because it is like a champion's case of trophy wives.
Yes, sir.
Whole Foods here in Highland Park is just, and if you pick the right time. And by the way, this all stems from my son. My son is one of these Gen Zers who's like, oh, he's never gonna. Well,
is he even Gen Z? I think he might be younger than that.
Nah, he's Gen Z. He says he is.
He's on the trail end of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So he thinks I'm a creep, right? Because I'm like, we got to go to Whole Foods between 3 and 5 because these women don't work and their husbands. It's true though. It is true. They don't work and their husbands do. And they all get out of yoga class around 3:30 in the afternoon. And then they go to Whole Foods and they buy some stuff. And then they come home and they cook dinner for their husbands, who inevitably will be like, I'm not going to be home for dinner, hon. And then they drink in their backyard.
So when they're cooking dinner, what's that called? Is that called just like leisurely fun? Or is that work?
No, that's wifely. That's trophy wifely duties.
It's fucking work. It's work.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let me be honest with you. These women, when they pull up in their $400,000 McLaren supercars and they jump out in their yoga pants and they run in to get a couple groceries, they're getting those groceries for their executive chef who told, who said, could you pick up some of this? Trust me, Kelly, we are the poorest people in this. James, you've seen this neighborhood. We are the poorest people in this neighborhood.
Yikes.
Love that neighborhood, man. Just love that neighborhood.
You aspire?
It's
of
like,
course.
It's like the third wealthiest zip code in America.
That's
like
crazy.
More than Malibu, more than Beverly Hills, more than the Hamptons. I mean, there was a
like 90210 where they have whole shows named after it.
It's like that, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's that level.
No, and I'm obsessed with Zillow now because I'm always looking at the home prices around here.
Yeah, I closed out a house today. I understand that.
Bruh, if I win the lottery, I'm moving to Highland Park. And my kids are going to Highland Park High School, just public school, and I am.
Why don't you talk to Eric and get him into his private school? That's freaking pricey.
I don't want to go to a private school. I don't want him to go to. I want him to go to a really nice public school. I want him to go.
By the way, good for Eric. I don't mean that in a bad way.
Ed, we live in the shittiest $2 million house on the block, like $3 million.
Yeah,
it's more than
house is like $5 million.
Yikes!
Well, we okay, we've got Ed and I both have a good idea what it is, but yeah, you were lowballing it, Ed. At any rate,
seriously, per square foot, isn't that like $400 a square foot? That house.
You want him to do math?
I don't know, man. Really,
Whatevs.
real estate with me.
Never mind.
I do obsess on Zillow though, and I was on Zillow this weekend, and I was looking at houses in Beverly Hills, the Hollywood Hills, in Malibu, because the kid's got a dream. Because well, no, because a house in my neighborhood that I run by right around the corner just went on sale for $12 million.
Yikes.
Oh yeah, and it's not even a mansion, Kelly.
Painful.
It's probably 4,000 square feet.
Oh,
It's
geez.
like $12 million.
Yikes.
Yeah, well, that's a mansion to me, but yeah, I get
So
it.
I was comparing it, and I was looking at the 90210 zip code in Beverly Hills and all that stuff. The houses in this neighborhood are way more expensive than Beverly Hills. Now, there are a couple outliers in Beverly Hills that are like $115 million and stuff, but those are outliers. There's also a couple of houses in this neighborhood that are over $100 million. So
Believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
Dude,
Mhm.
Amel's house is so cool because it has that fancy pants architect that has all the curvy walls and the staircases, the curvy wall around it, and the side dining room. And
Oh yeah,
dude,
this
that's
house
such
is
a
a work
cool-
of art. This
such
house,
a
Yeah,
cool
I don't
house,
doubt it.
man.
Emil
Jesus.
appreciates art for sure. He's an artist.
but
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
the house itself was built in 1938 by a futuristic architect who's really famous, and it's got a name. This house is
The Rose
known-
House, right? Isn't that what it's
Rose
called?
House.
Yeah.
When you buy a house,
Wow.
it's got a name.
I'm going to name my house.
So cool. It
I don't
ain't
know
even
what.
that big. It's just cool.
All right, so I go up to Whole Foods right after yoga, because not for me, but that's when
I was going to say you were yoga.
That's when I estimate that all the yoga ladies in their supercars get there. And my son says that makes me a creep. He's like, you go to a store at a specific time just because you might see some. And I'm like, dude, I'm a 50-something-year-old single guy. I go, that's
Fine.
not being a creep. So now let's take this down the block a little bit, okay? Maybe that doesn't necessarily make me a creep. It just makes me somebody who would rather go when there are things to look at, stare at. Okay, now I'm sounding like a creep.
Huh?
I'm
Yeah.
saying it out loud.
Lettuce, romaine.
So today I pull in, and you called me when I was there. So today I pull in, and the girl who I was just talking about in her $300,000 McLaren supercar pulls in. It sounds like a freaking jet plane. As
I hope not that. Not ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, exactly, James, like that.
Yeah.
Like it just pulls in, and she gets.
I've heard them. I've been to Highland Park. I know what they sound like. They sound like angels singing.
It sounds like angels having sex. Yes, it does. It's beautiful. And I've seen this woman before, and I'm obsessed with her. She's also a jogger. I see her.
How do you know that?
Because I've seen her jogging. And then I've seen her jump in her supercar with her little ponytail flop. She's like 28. She's like 28 driving like a car.
Stop looking at her. You look creepy. Come on.
Okay, now let's get to this. So she jumps out. She jumps out of the car, and she's bounding because life is just a bag of roses for her.
Right.
She jumps out. She's bounding into the Whole Foods, and I get out of my car, and I'm like, okay. So I follow her in, and again, I'm saying
Don't say follow. Don't say follow.
I'm saying it out loud, and it sounds bad.
Yes.
But what was I supposed to do? Wait in my car? I mean, so I get out.
Not go to the produce aisle. Yeah.
No, I'm going there. I'm going to grab a head of lettuce and some mushrooms.
I just want a mushroom. Yeah.
So I walk in behind her because
Oh,
that's
gosh.
just the order. That's just the order of how it. What am I?
How about just after her? I walk in after her.
I walk in after her.
Yeah.
She disappears like an angel fluttering up to heaven on gossamer wings. She just disappears. She's gone, like poof, like that. And so I'm standing in the produce, and I'm like. Where'd she go? Not that I'm following her. It was just interesting,
No. Why did you want to know? I've never walked into HEB and wanted to follow where someone was going.
Because you're in a dead loveless marriage. I'm a single guy.
True.
I'm looking
And
for.
guys are just worse than girls at this stuff. This is like the kind of stuff that makes me gag when girls are like, girls have a sex drive just like guys. No, you don't. No.
This is not
not
sexual,
even close.
James. This is not sexual.
No. Is this true love or is this science? Whatever. It's
This
just
is nothing at this point. This is
You're
me
following your wiener and you know it, and it's okay.
No, this is me observing that she seems to have disappeared. Okay.
Oh, you're concerned about her well-being.
How would you know that? I couldn't tell you anyone I thought disappeared that I was in a shopping center with.
Because she was
Ever.
in front of me. She was like 10 yards in front of me, and then suddenly she's gone. Maybe I just wanted to see what kind of she's fit. Maybe I was just looking for, some
Diet advice?
Right. What is she picking up here?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, you're a kinesiology enthusiast.
no matter how any of this sounds, none of this is creepy yet. It's all just happenstance. Now, she happens to be very pretty. She happens to be very pretty. Did I mention?
Because if she wasn't, you wouldn't be following her.
Well, I wouldn't have noticed her. I probably
hear about it.
Noticed her for like the 15th time in the neighborhood. Now it starts to get maybe a little creepy.
Oh gosh.
So I go looking for her.
I don't want to see you on the news.
So now I'm walking around Whole Foods like I'm looking for my kid. You know, like, where's your kid?
Hot chick. Hot chick.
Right. I'm looking down all the aisles. She's completely vanished. She's good. And then, you know,
is she okay, Pugs? You need to confirm if she's okay.
I did find her. I found her over by
just
the wall.
Because he says she's okay doesn't mean she's okay. What do we mean by okay?
She's fine. She's fine. And
how do you know that?
She was over by the line. And at that point I went, okay, so she didn't just disappear. Because honestly, yes, maybe a good 30% of it was pervy, but 70% of it was, did she disappear? Like, where did she go? Like, I was really wondering, is there like an upstairs here? I was wondering.
An upstairs, a secret bathroom.
I didn't know where she went. So my son calls me a creeper. So he believes that, you know, after hearing, and not just that story, but other stories. Like, okay, so I used to test him, like, you know, before he was prepubescent to see what he was into. So we'd see a girl and I'd go, hey, what do you think? What do you think of that? Cut it out, Dad! You're such a creeper! James, nothing wrong with a dad testing his kid, right? Just to see, you know, just trying to figure it out. Because whatever, I love him anyway. I mean, it doesn't matter which direction he blows, you know. Well, boy, that was a bad choice of words. It doesn't matter which direction he goes in. I'm gonna love him anyway. He is decidedly heterosexual because now he is in, you know, the puberty state, and he's definitely he's definitely into girls.
Dude, you don't have to test your boys though. Like when a hot chick walks by and they're just like. And they just you just see it in their eyes.
I've been doing this since 7 and 8, right? I've just been laying the groundwork, just trying to.
My son, who's 10, has been telling me for the past 2 weeks that he thinks he's going into puberty, and he said it to Declan, who's 25, that he thinks he's going into puberty, and then he asked Declan, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Well, you don't think that girls are as icky, and maybe you might have some hair grow out under your underarms." He's like, "Ew." And girls are icky. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. You're 10.
So here's my question. My question about this whole situation. Now, look, I'm not going to the Whole Foods to troll, right? That's not. I'm not dating. I'm not interested in it. So, you know, stop asking. And let me tell you, there are a number of women in my immediate circle who are constantly trying to fix me up with people. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take them back to the guest house. You know, it's like, I'm just not interested in anything like that. Most notably, Miss Cirillo and her band of super hot friends are always.
Yeah, I'm sure they are, because she's super hot.
Wendy has 1,000 hot friends.
Yep.
She does. And they're on the boat every weekend, and they always want to know, you know what? You need to meet.
No,
Gloria.
you don't.
I am not meeting Gloria. I'm not meeting whoever. Whatever. It's very nice. It's very, you know, it's sweet, and I appreciate it. But still,
they want the best for you.
Yes, they do. But no.
But you have a good personality.
Stop it. Don't even say that to people.
So here's my question. Here's my question. If I were interested in meeting somebody, right? My son says it's like the story that I just told you would appall my Gen Z kid. Yeah, that's such a creeper. How are you supposed to meet people if you know everything? Like, how do you meet a stranger without them going back off, creep? You know, I mean, I guess that's always been sort of the crucifix being lugged around by ugly men. You know, ugly men have always been the creep if they approach a strange girl, whereas the handsome man is charming. You know, he's so sweet. But in this day and age of hypersensitivity, where everybody is trying to not be a creep, how do you meet somebody? What do you...
I can't even tell you. I watch Discovery ID. We leave it on in our bedroom overnight. So from 10 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning, I'm just watching people hunt other people down and kill them. That's what I watch for fun.
That's not good. But let's say that I was interested in meeting 28-year-old trophy wife, McLaren rider, neighborhood girl. Well, I could never like say hello to her in a grocery store because that now if I looked like Tom Brady, that's that great Saturday Night Live
Right.
bit, you know, where
That's totally different. Yeah.
But I mean, how does any the rules are unfair is what I'm saying. The rules are unfair for a dumpy looking 52-year-old guy. There is just
You're underestimating yourself with that description.
I am
I
adorable.
might just say.
Damn this, but
I don't know the answer to that.
there is no good answer.
I needed to have some kind of preparation for that. It's just to me, dating apps.
Dating apps. Yeah, you got to
The only way, because like, what am I going to do?
Oh.
I'm going to hang out in fucking Corpus Christi and try to meet somebody? You kidding me? No.
Kelly's new boyfriend, Rollo.
Hell no. Hell no.
He's
No.
32 and works as a he rents jet skis at the beach.
Oh, Jesus, probably. If I'm so lucky as to have an entrepreneur.
He's the guy who operates the parasailing concession down there.
Oh, gosh.
James?
My son met somebody on an app that lives an hour and a half away in Three Rivers, which is not so close to Corpus, but I guess like not completely. And, you know, that's the closest he could find.
Your son is 25 years old.
Yeah, I know. He just works. He works a lot.
He's allowed to go up to girls in bars. You know,
he doesn't go to bars.
Oh, God. Where did you go wrong?
Not at all.
What the hell?
I don't know. I mean, at this point, he just doesn't have time because he's trying to start off with a career. So, like anything anyone above him asks him to do, he takes on as a job. So, and drinking's never been important to him.
Yeah, that's wrong. That's bad advice. He's got to have fun now. He's got.
I did not give him that advice. That was the advice that he took. And anytime I try to give him advice, it's like, yeah, Mom. Okay.
Let me tell you a piece of advice that I just recently heard. I just recently listened to
I'm here for it. What is it?
Podcast, an amazing podcast. I don't know if either of you are familiar with what Mike Reiner is doing now, but he's doing a podcast called Your Dark Companion.
No way.
Oh, it is so good, man. He did 2 hours with Danny Bayless this past weekend that I just devoured on one of my runs. But
I feel like that guy has like this whole segment of his art that he would like to explore that he just can't do on the ticket.
Music and pop culture. He's a very cool guy.
But you get the same vibe from Corby and Danny too.
Yeah, but Mike's older. He's seen more, you know? He's like he's the old gray wolf. He's
less to lose.
He's so interesting and so fascinating. He's made his money and he's got the FU money now and he's doing it the way he wants to. So he sat down for 4 hours. I think it was 2-hour clips with Dale Hansen. And it was just him. It was just Mike Reiner and Dale Hansen just talking about everything they did wrong.
Dale Hansen can also go off the rails.
Dale Hansen. It was so compelling. It was one of the most fascinating conversations by two old dudes who slayed it in their careers, talking about not, hey, look how cool we are, talking about all of the mistakes that they've made, all the things they did wrong. Dale Hansen, so here's a piece of advice. Dale Hansen said, Dale Hansen was basically crying poor. He was saying, you know, he just recently retired. And he's like, you know, everybody thinks I got all this money. I don't have all this money. And he said, he goes, I used to say that I don't want, when I was in because he made a lot of money, like in his 30s, like, you know, it wasn't like $1 million a year in 1985, but it was the 1985 equivalent of $1 million. You know what I mean? He was a high paid sports guy and he worked with the Cowboys and all that stuff. Big presence here in the market for 40 years. So he said, he goes, people used to say, you know, Dale, you're making all this money and you're 30 years old. He goes, you're making all this money if you put this much away, then when you're 65, boy, you won't have a care in the world. And Dale Hansen said, I decided back then that I didn't want to be comfortable at 65 if it meant not enjoying being 30. I was like, all right, that's how
one way to live. Yep.
And he's like,
it's a choice.
And he's not broke. He's got a home and like all of that kind of, he's comfortable, but he was talking about how, you know, he could have so much more, but he drove fancy cars and he picked up every bar tab and he went out to dinner and they had a wonderful time. They went on fantastic trips and, you know, all these things. And I'm like, you know, that is absolutely right, because all of us have this crazy little experiment and we could not wake up tomorrow morning because a bubble bursts in our brain.
True.
And
Yeah.
what are you doing if you're not enjoying the perks of your life as they come to you by planning? I know this is like, well, that's no, women like security or whatever. But what I'm saying is, here we're two old dudes just talking about how, yeah, that's how now at our age we're sitting here. Why do I want to be rich and have all of this money at this? I can't do anything. Tell Hanson is 75. He's like, I can't do anything. But when I was 45, I was living life. And I'm like, isn't that refreshing? And the opposite of what you hear from everybody else.
Well, there's a difference between that and like being able to live comfortably, but like maybe you could have lived better, and then like living in a tent. Like there's some place in between where you draw a line.
He's fine. He doesn't.
Right.
He's
work.
probably in like Keller or something. He's not suffering.
No, he doesn't have to take another job. He golfs every day, and he and his beautiful wife take.
But I totally enjoy that trade-off because
he doesn't have $20 million like people think. He doesn't. That's what he was getting at.
Right. And the trade-off makes total sense, because would you rather travel the world and go to the hottest clubs when you're 35 or 65? Well, that's easy.
I don't want to go to the hottest clubs. I never did.
Well, it's about living.
Pugs was the go to the hottest clubs guy. I was not that girl. I did not do that.
Yeah, okay. Well,
because you could never hear anyone when they talk. It was irritating.
Do you want to be the dude that's picking up everyone's tab at 65 or 35?
35.
If I could pick it up, it didn't matter what age I was.
Yeah, it's just basically it was just a lesson about living life, about live your life, enjoy yourself. Stop worrying about how things are going to be when you're 70.
No, I totally get this, because I had sort of a traumatic thrust into this category, because right as I came of age, when I was 16, like I had two of my close friends die. And then my grandmother died when I was like 19. And if she wasn't like some distant grandmother that I would just go see in the summers, like she was like my second mom there. And my cousin died when I was like 17. So first cousin lived 5 miles down the road. And so I was kind of under the impression like, hey, I may not even be here in 10 years. So if you're going to have fun, let's have fun now. Because this is the only thing that's guaranteed is now. And I could put this all off, and I could put money away, or I could be responsible, or I could not. I could like just forego some fun now for some greater reward later. But what if I get hit by a bus tomorrow?
Yeah.
But what if you don't and you have to pay for the rest of your life?
Then I'll figure it out. But like,
it's like
when you're coming of age and you have like 5 very close people around you die as you're coming out of high school, you're like, I'm going to eat dessert first. Whatever this whole life thing is, I'm slaying chicks. I'm going to parties. I'm getting messed up. Yeah.
Enjoy the perks of your life when they come.
It's not my motto on a t-shirt, but okay, I understand.
Well, that's who I was when y'all met me. Isn't that who?
No, I know that.
Doesn't that explain some of that?
Yeah.
Like, why was I going so buck wild at 24? Right.
Mm-hmm.
I've had 3 people who I loved just die unexpectedly in the last 5 years. All of them were young. All of them had, so much. My Paco. Well, without a doubt, is one of them. Paco is a huge one. My best friend.
So if you're Paco, like, what sense does it make if you were throwing money in this IRA or a 401k for the last 20 years? None.
Yeah.
He got to enjoy none of that.
I don't think Paco was doing that anyway, but
no, Paco was doing great, Kelly.
No, I know he was doing well, but like the financial part of like putting away something for security seems like no.
No, he was. He had a condo. He was getting married.
That I can believe. Yeah.
He had a 6-figure-plus job. He was in charge of an entire department. I mean, he was slaying it. And then,
he was great.
And then there was my best friend in Chicago, Gary, who when I moved back to Chicago,
musician, right?
Yeah, did all the Pugs and Kelly music from the early days. Had the studio that I worked out of exclusively. He just dropped dead. And then Bruce, who was as important and influential to me at a very dark time in my. All of these people just. Gone. just
I miss Bruce very much. I mean, I miss Paco too.
Yeah.
But well, I feel like I've been around a lot of death lately.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I don't like it.
And that's why just live life. James, what do you say we do a little monologue here before?
Uh-oh.
Wait,
I'd say, hell
geez.
yeah, let's do a little monologue.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
all right, please welcome into the Comfort Nest Studios, high atop the 1%er compound in beautiful downtown Highland Park, Texas. He is a man known the globe around. He is fresh from his sold-out shows at the Queen's Jubilee, James Malachi Parker.
Can I have the floor, please, Pugs?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, this guy.
It's not too much to ask.
All right, here you go.
I liked it when you got rid of
him
him completely.
Good crowd, by the way. Thank you. And what am I sipping today, James? Jeff, that is Fireball. It is very.
What's that made
classy
of? Fireball. I've never heard of it.
It's made out of fire and balls. So.
Just joking, obviously.
So, and did you see the news today? And what's being called a major scientific breakthrough, Pugs and Kelly? Scientists say they have found a cure for insomnia. It's called watching Pugs and Parker.
Look at that.
Queen Elizabeth is handing off her duties to Prince Charles. So after did you hear about this though? After 7 decades as a monarch, Her Royal Highness has now grown tired of waving.
Look at that.
Because that's her duties. As Johnny Depp celebrates his court victory, Amber Heard has already announced she's going to be filing an appeal, but not as appealing as she used to be. Because she used to be more appealing. According to Page 6, Amber Heard is in dire financial straits these days. To give you an idea of how broke she is, she was the victim of identity theft, and now the thief is broke.
Look at that.
The Carnival Mardi Gras cruise ship rescued 11 men and 5 women from a distressed boat off the coast of Cuba. It's one of those rafts they make out of trash. Amazingly, after one day aboard the luxury liner, the rescuees gained an average of 9 pounds.
That right.
Refugee humor. And they eat a lot on cruise ships. If you've never been on one, that's one of the draws. Over the weekend in Killarney, Ireland, they held
Killarney, you heathen, Killarney.
I was wondering what he was saying. I'm like, Killarney.
Well, that's how we say it in Texas, Killarney. They'll have to rename it. But they had the International Tattoo Convention. I wasn't able to make it, so yesterday I went to the Walmart in Mesquite. You could have booed it. That's fine. In Oklahoma, a 28-year-old female teacher was arrested for texting nude selfies to a 16-year-old male student. And this is sad, Pugs and Kelly. I remember when teachers used to actually have sex with the students. Now they just phone it in. Just selfies. Yeah. All right, screw that. And finally, attempted Ronald Reagan assassin John Hinckley Jr. says he's now concentrating on his music career. In fact, he has a new band called Jody and the Fosters.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Never promised good jokes. I just promised jokes.
Too soon. All right.
Yes, John. Yeah. Yes, John. Bruce the pornographer. If y'all want to pay attention to the people who are nice enough to comment on the show. But yes, Bruce the pornographer. Jesus.
Kelly, you got anything? Let's start with Kelly tonight.
I do. I had it. I hate to like bring anything to a complete stop by the fact that I had like an interesting revelation and thought today. And okay, because most people will know my queen, Emily D. Baker, who's a lawyer, and she commented on the Johnny Depp thing. She watched it, she live streamed it, and as a lawyer, former assistant prosecutor for LA, she would like explain, like, and especially like, oh, this will tie to this. This explains why this wasn't let in, and this is why this objection should happen, and whatever. And so, like, for dummies like me watching, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like I'm watching it with my teacher.
Yeah, they dumb it down. They make
Yeah.
it pedestrian.
I appreciate that because I'm one of the dumb people, and I thank them for doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and she did a great job. And as a sign that she did a great job, in April, she had 200,000 followers, of which I was one, because she also does pop culture shit. So I watch her that way. But now, just less than 2 months later, she has 620,000 followers, and she was the number one, I believe, streamer of the Depp Heard trial, which awesome. And she was on a bunch of shows and Inside Edition, and she's gotten a bunch of accolades. And people had said that looking at her, I think I read that she had made $109,000 in a month on YouTube just commenting on this trial. And other Law 2 people were also making a shit ton of money, essentially. And they were totally outwatched over mainstream media. Like, no one's watching like ABC News or CNN or Fox or whatever to hear about this stuff. They're tuning in to independent news sources.
I watched almost exclusively the Depp and Heard trial on Law and Crime Network on YouTube. Almost exclusively.
They sanctioned Emily, so they're dead to me. But
oh, really? Oh, okay.
I'm kidding, but they did actually cite her for something. But and then it just they started talking. There was this narrative that, is mainstream media news really gonna die because these independent sources that you have that pop up or that do exist, where people can decide, do I want to hear an interpretation of a news thing through a slanted view, or do I want to watch and see on my own and watch through an independent person who's watching and commenting on it and decide on my own about what I think based on what I see happening. I see with my own eyes.
So, I mean, basically, first of all, let's make a distinction here just from the outset. You're not referring to the rise of the amateur journalist or any. This is an expert in the field who now possesses the capability, independent of one of the large platforms, CNN, Fox News, whatever it is, to get whatever she wants out in her own way. Because
you have to vet your sources for sure. You have to like vet them. You can't just like take. The other example I will use is, and this is so like, you have to actually follow Real Housewives or like there's Jen Shaw. Do you guys know who she is?
I do not.
Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, who's being put on trial next month and is probably going to get like 8 years in federal prison.
Is she the racist Asian lady? That's the only Real Housewife. There's some racist Asian lady who's like,
is that a thing? Can you be racist in Asian?
Yeah.
Her last name's Shaw, and she's married to, I want to say, University of Utah basketball coach, who is formerly a lawyer, but he's a basketball coach. Anyway, she could face up to 60 years in prison.
What'd she do?
She's one of those people who like got people's information and sold it to other people under false pretenses, and many of them being old, like, oh, I think that you're interested in this. Why don't you talk to my friend and they can help you create a website and you can make money off this. And it's one of those things where it's like, you have to really read and understand, and you're like, oh, this lady's she's just full of shit. She's full of BS. She conned a lot of people out of a lot of money.
Okay.
And they caught her on tape. She and the cast of this housewife show were going on a trip. I want to say to Vail, but wherever, it's someplace that I can't afford to go to. And the university, or not university, but Southern New York, District of Southern New York, the Homeland Security and FBI and the other police force zoomed in on them in this van, and you catch them on tape trying to arrest her when she had just escaped 10 minutes prior, because she had gotten alerted of a phone call that the police sources were all at her house searching for her.
Yeah, Brianne says she was scamming old people.
Yeah, she was.
There you go. Yeah.
And everyone around her has turned on her. She's the last one.
I thought Kelly was doing that Stefan thing from Saturday Night Live when
Yeah.
I said, what did she do? It's that thing, where a midget dresses like a police dog.
Because it's like telemarketing, and then they get their information, and then they sell it to somebody else, and then they scam them out of money. But she had people working under her that have all pled. She's the last one. And she's chosen to go to trial because, Pugs, sometimes you just have to go to trial because some other people who can't afford to defend themselves can't afford to do it themselves. So I'll just go to trial. One of those things.
She's doing it for the other people.
Not for her. Not because she doesn't want to spend 20 years in prison. That's not it.
Okay, so back to the Emily girl. So the Emily girl has been covering the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial.
Yeah, she covers law courses, lawsuits,
and she does
and
it on her
trials.
own independent channel.
Yeah.
Is she hot? Is that just a coincidence?
I'm surprised.
I think she's pretty. She's not your conventional beauty.
I see. The thing is, I don't see any of these YouTube influencers, Instagram, TikTok, any of them that are swamp donkeys. Is that just a coincidence, or is that maybe
James? Let me tell you this. She probably weighs 50% more than I do, and she's not going to be on the cover of any magazine. I think that she's very pretty, but it's not because she's not Camila Vasquez.
Yeah, but she's not a swamp donkey, is she?
She's not gonna. I don't want to see. Here's the thing. I don't want to just put her down on her looks. She's pretty, but nobody's like, oh God, I can't wait to see what hot Emily wears today. It's not like that.
Yeah,
she's smart. She's pretty. But she's not you're not gonna have a poster of her in your room. I would. I love her.
I just enjoy how this is a factor in so many of these other successful venues, like the Fixer Upper people, like the
No, she's not going to be on that show. No,
it's not because they know how to remodel a bathroom. Is because Joanna's a 9. That's the reason that show's successful, and it's not that what she's saying is bad or she's necessarily wrong.
She's pretty. I think that if my daughter looked like her, if I ran a magazine like a Playboy, am I going to put her on a cover or inside? Not based on looks. She's pretty though.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, it's over. It's over.
Is that her?
Exactly.
Oh, that's not her.
Okay, well, it says it is. I don't know what to tell you. What's her name?
No, her name is Emily D. Baker.
Yeah, that's what I put it.
Well, that's not her. No.
All right, but Emily D.
Baker. I think if you look at the Emily D. Baker on any of the social media things, because right now she's got purple hair.
Yeah, that's her. I got her. She looks like Sybil, kind of. She looks like Sybil.
She kind of does. See what I mean? She's pretty, but it's not like you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm so hot for her. Well, it's not like that.
She's a mature, grown-up professional woman. Yeah, she's fine.
She's a lawyer.
A swamp donkey is the point.
Okay.
I'm not sure where this level is. Because I think she's really pretty, but I don't maybe this is a me problem and not a you problem. I don't like just judging women at this point just on their looks because I feel like it's kind of not fair. Nobody's looking at Ben's shoe. Yeah, that's her. Those are all her. She's cute. She's totally cute. She's sweet. She's funny. She's nice. She swears a lot.
Look, you're walking into the context of my head where I'm just amazed that for my entire 45 years of existence, there hasn't been one top 10 hit by a swamp donkey. Really? None of them can sing well. None of them have a good idea for a song.
No, she's a good lawyer. She's a good speaker and she's a good communicator.
I'm just saying I am sort of, you're shoehorning.
Wait a second. James.
My dumb context into
James, I can shoot that down in an instant. Are you saying that there has never been an unattractive woman with a pop career? Is that
not a swamp donkey? Not a swamp donkey. Now
I have to know who a swamp donkey is.
So now you're defending the lady with the Prime show, who I don't know. What's her name? Lizzo. Yeah, she's not.
Lizzo. She's a singer.
Right. So James doesn't classify her as a swamp donkey. He spent the last 6 months calling her a swamp donkey, and now all of a sudden, conveniently, she doesn't exist.
No,
anymore.
She's not a swamp donkey. She's a pile of chili. She's a person who otherwise would be attractive if she didn't weigh 310 pounds.
Yeah. All right. Well, because
That law degree weighs a lot.
let me tell you something. Lady
That
Gaga
helps.
came on the scene and she was not attractive. Now, she happens
Exactly.
to be
It's funny
attractive.
that I was thinking of her too when you were talking.
She happens to be attractive. But I remember seeing a picture of Lady Gaga in 2010, when she wasn't dressed like the Lady Gaga of 2010, and making an argument to Kelly's brother, Kevin, that she's actually quite pretty. And he's like, she's disgusting. Look at her. She's gross. So there you have it. Sinead O'Connor shaved her head so that they couldn't manipulate her as a sex icon.
How'd
That's the
that
whole
work
reason.
out?
Worked out great for her. She sold
What? She
100
didn't have
million
another
records.
hit. She didn't have another hit. She had
I know
one hit.
she's tried to kill herself a
brings
couple
in-
times, so maybe
yeah.
that's not the best.
Wait a second.
example.
Hold on, James.
And Byron, Adele
James,
is
she
not
had-
a swamp donkey.
she
Adele
No,
had
is
she's pretty.
Sinead O'Connor had multiple hits. She had a massive album, and the fact that she didn't have anything after that, she had Emperor's New Clothes. She had.
I wouldn't know that song if it played right now.
Now you're gonna make me play these songs. Yes, you
No,
would, and
I'm
you'd go,
not
"Oh,
gonna.
that's her too." Yeah, you would. These were all hits on alternative radio. She had
Yeah,
a
they
number
were.
of hits. There was a massive album that she had. Now, her issues for not becoming a big star was because she's a lunatic and
She's
she had
crazy.
serious
Yep.
mental issues. It had
Mhm.
nothing to do with the fact that she wasn't talented and didn't have a record company behind her. Shall we go on? I mean, there are a number of other. Are we going to continue now?
Are we going to say that Celine Dion was going to be in the center of Playboy? I mean, maybe because she's Celine Dion, but
She's
not
a
based on her
swamp
looks.
donkey by
Barbara
anyone's.
Streisand,
Not a
True.
swamp donkey, dude. Not
Liza
a,
Minnelli. All right,
not
I'm
a
just putting out
swamp
a
donkey.
number. Aretha Franklin.
Not a
Oh,
swamp
you keep moving the goal.
donkey.
Yeah, it is moving. Yes. I'm having a hard time keeping up with it.
Your original contention was only beautiful, young, petite pop chanteuses get elevated to stardom. And we are giving you people who just completely refute that contention, and you're refusing to acknowledge it.
No. Aretha Franklin came to prominence before she was a swamp donkey. So
See,
it just
and
kinda carried over.
that's what I mean. Like, it's far more insulting what you're saying, James, than what is coming out. Like, we're evaluating whether or not she has worth based on her looks. And I'm telling you, she has worth based on her talent. And not only that, but it's an indication of how she came to rise. And when people wanted to learn about a case that they were watching, they turned more to alternative media than they did to mainstream. Like, they're not looking
That is
necessarily.
all valid. That's all valid.
And the thing is, I think this is a really good sign because I'm not one of those people that's like mainstream media sucks, blah 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 blah. I'm not like that. I'm not, that's not the politics I follow. But I do agree that sometimes lines are made and people need to follow the lines, meaning the journalists need to follow the lines that have been decided or dictated or said, like, you need to side with Amber Heard because she speaks for women. And so then they try to cater their covering of the case based on what somehow someone has decided they needed to spread. Like, we need to spread that if we're going to be about the Me Too movement, then we have to believe Amber Heard. No, we don't need to, because she's a freaking liar. And if you want to find out what happened in the case during the day, maybe you don't look towards who are mainstream media hosts.
Dan Abrams. Although, no, he's Law and Crime Network. All right, so Jeffrey Toobin. The guy that jerks off on Zoom calls.
I don't want to hear, from him. I want to watch someone who watched the entire freaking trial and tells me, like, here's what happened. Here's why I think it matters. And this is the court sightings. And not like your 10-minute, maybe not even that rebuttal, or you're puking up of your knowledge of the case, which you didn't even freaking see. You're not forming your own opinion. Someone's telling you what to say. And I feel like if we start looking more towards independent sources, it could be better. However, Pugs, I think that you might have another view on that.
Well, my whole issue. Well, first of all, I can't. Can I just, before we move on, can I just say something? Because I realized the trap that James just set for me, and
He did.
James played the bad guy by by repeating the term swamp donkey, and then baited me, Mr. Feminist baited me into then naming a whole bunch of ugly women who I obviously
I know.
think
It
are
wasn't good.
donkeys.
It wasn't good. You
Just-
stepped into that trap.
I completely walked into that. There is nothing wrong with Liza Minnelli, Barbara Streisand, Janis Joplin, or any of these women. They just
In a way, it proved the point, though. It's like women can't say anything unless they look good.
Yeah.
Like if unless I'm going to be pretty, what I have to say has no value to you.
So now back to your greater point. My feelings about, and people who listen to the High Noon Show have heard this rant, so I'm going to make it as concise as possible. The problem with the newfangled independent journalist is, well, people want to talk about mainstream media, and I've got problems with mainstream media. I certainly despise CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. It's why that I look for, but it's why tonight when I go to bed, I will be watching GBN, Eamon, and I can't think of the
What's GBN?
Great Britain News. It's their morning show. It's like their Today Show. I go to bed every night watching their Today Show, and it's Eamon and Alyssa or something. And they're wonderful. Eamon's like an old English guy. He's like 60 and he's all stuffy. And then he's got a hot young like sidekick they're like the Today Show of English.
You're proving James's point now.
No, I'm just saying it's a fun dynamic because he's a cool old guy and she's like it's like watching, a dad and daughter argue. It's cute. It's adorable. My problem is with legacy media and how crucial information is disseminated in the modern age. It is not disseminated. Actual journalism, actual reporting, actual facts are all hiding behind paywalls. So what happens is we have this new thing where people, the example that I gave you was, people are sharing something from the Los Angeles Examiner. Los Angeles Examiner is not a real newspaper. It's some guy who created a newspaper that looks like a real newspaper so that stupid people who have confirmation bias issues can read something that they agree with and then pass it along like it's true fact. Meanwhile, when the actual facts are hiding behind a paywall at the San Francisco Examiner or the LA Times or the Dallas Morning News, real information is hiding behind paywalls. So that opened up this whole thing now where we have anybody who wants to put bullshit information out can masquerade it as what looks like true legacy media. And that's my issue with independent journalism or the modern amateur journalism. But what you're describing with Emily is, she's an expert.
Yeah.
She's an expert utilizing.
She did the work.
Yes. She's not some pretend person like me or James who are presenting ourselves as experts. She's actually somebody who would have opinions on law issues, who is using modern technology to get her point out without being beholden to the major corporate structures. So that I applaud. What I don't applaud is the Babylon Bee. Or the Los Angeles Examiner, or any number of people who James probably has on his radio shows from time to time. These are the people who are just participating in confirmation bias.
But I feel like just because something's in actual print doesn't mean it's more reliable than something's not in actual print.
But do y'all have
free lies travel further than expensive truths? And all of the legacy media, you got to pay for to get the actual shit. But you can get lies. You can get lies that look like they come from a legitimate source. And those are the things that people are passing. And that's why people are walking around going, a monkey jizzed in the virus, and now that's why you can't take the vaccine. That's why we have like incredible levels of stupidity out there, because there are sources that back up these crazy.
Amber Heard got hers printed in the Washington Post. Yeah. And the jury came back and said her whole thing was a bunch of lies.
James, go ahead. Floor is yours, because I see you chomping at the bit.
I'm sorry, James.
No, look, it's not that different than 100 years ago or 50 years ago. I have to speculate because I wasn't alive 50 years ago or 100 years ago.
Show off.
But I imagine that it wasn't that different than what we all have. You probably have this, Kelly. You probably have this. I have this. If I have a legal question, one of my best friends is a friend of mine named Will, who happens to be a lawyer. So when I have questions about like the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial or some sort of procedural thing that happened in there, I call my buddy Will. Now he happens to be a socialist from Puerto Rico, but who cares? That's my friend Will. He was the best man at my wedding. So I don't care what CNN says. I don't care what Fox News says. I don't
Okay, that's
care
anecdotally convenient for
Yeah,
you.
it is,
You've got
because
Will in your life. Most
also
people,
I don't know Will. Maybe he's a dummy. I don't know.
who is the person personally that you run legal questions through? Because if you have questions on plastic surgery, I know you'll ask Robert Schwartz. If you
For
ask
sure.
questions about, running drugs from Cuba or whatever, you might ask Emil or I don't know, some of your other random friends.
all right, let's
But
get
we all
something
have
straight.
like our personal expertise crew in our
I asked
personal
Emil
life.
about everything because he knows somebody.
Believe it. Yep.
He knows the
I don't know
guy. If he
anybody.
doesn't know, he knows the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know hard legal questions. No, I have to crowdsource it. I have to look
Yeah,
at
me
a whole
too.
bunch of different sources online, people who I respect, people who have reputations, and that's how I get information. I mean, every morning when I wake up to put the high noon show together to formulate my opinions, I mean, that takes 3 hours. I do that for 3 hours looking at 12 topics where I read everything that I can find. Okay, that's not entirely just sometimes I just rip and read
Wing
and
it.
go, this sounds fun.
But don't you have like a personal cadre of experts that you yourself rely on? Like if you were
No.
president, these people would be in your advisory council?
No, I truly do not. Not that's why I should never be president. I would
Well, I'm
have
not voting for
Aaron.
you then. Yeah.
I would have Aaron, Ed, and Emil and you, James. That would be my cabinet.
That's
Uh-oh.
pretty good.
We're in trouble.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't have one like doctor friend. You don't have one lawyer
Schwartz.
friend.
Sports, yeah.
There you go. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And these are not only your reliable sources, but for the people who, I mean, we kind of unfairly say these people are all just duped by what they see in the media. No, most people have this little inner circle of expertise that they call friends or something.
No,
close to it.
dude. Most
Most
people are
You don't think so?
stupid.
Am I
No.
being
Yes.
Pollyannish on this one?
Yes, most people do not. You think a guy who works in a rubber plant in Ames, Iowa, has a group of experts that he can pick up the phone
About Ukraine and Russia?
Right, come on, man.
See, that's the point. I think he does. I
No.
think he
No,
went to high
you're
school with the
crazy.
guy, or he used to date this girl in high school that married a
Great.
corporate
So now I gotta listen
lawyer
to
and
this guy who used to date this girl who married somebody for that's any more reliable than anything. I mean, on one hand, it seems it's a little bit kind of risky to believe people that you'll hear that have YouTube channels. But then again, if I'm reading something out of a newspaper, how do I know that that author has any more information than the YouTube person does? I don't know.
You're
I didn't
so right.
investigate
You're
them.
So right. He
Legacy
doesn't.
Association. We have to trust institutions, which is something we do not do at all.
I do not do anymore.
Whether it's the FBI or the Justice Department or the court system
No,
or
I
the New
do
York
most of
Times,
that, though.
we don't trust institutions, and we have to have some faith in institutions at
Mhm.
our own peril. Or, I mean, look, if I read something in the New York Times, which is the only major newspaper that I subscribe to because they got good stuff. They got good, smart people. I don't agree with everybody. And I can tell. Here's the other thing. People need to learn to tell the difference between journalists and people who are offering commentary.
Right.
I don't know that the average person has any ability anymore to understand. Jeff, right now, Jeff said 9 out of 10 times when James was filling in on USA Radio, I would hear something and perceive to believe it, and then I'd hear it on James' show a few days later, and guess what? James was more accurate. James is a very smart guy. James is not an expert. James offers opinions. These are just things that he comes up with, right? But if I want to know about something that's happening in the White House, I would like to get that information from somebody who's in the White House, like maybe a New York Times White House reporter, instead of some guy that's on USA radio networks who is, with all due respect, doing a performance. That's what it is.
I recommend the PodSave people. PodSave America, PodSave's voting.
But again, they're partisan. See, now we're talking.
No, they are.
Now
For sure they are.
Confirmation
Yes.
bias. You listen to that because you want to hear the things that they are saying. Now, I'm not saying that they are specifically just catering to an audience that they know.
They worked there, though. Like, they did the work.
But
and
so did Steve Cortez. But you're not watching OAN to see what Steve Cortez has to say about his time in the Trump
Not
administration.
at all. No.
But he worked there. See, it's the same thing. It's about confirmation.
I get what you're saying.
I don't want people who work
yeah.
there. I want someone who works for the New York Times, the Boston Globe, the Chicago Tribune. I want somebody like that who is theoretically independent.
I appreciate the people, though, and the Pod Saves guy, like John Favreau and stuff, will criticize what they don't agree with, even when it's from the Democratic Party. Like they'll be like, no, this is stupid. No, don't do that. I appreciate that, because I feel like if you're willing to criticize, in theory, the team that you're on, I can believe you more because you're being critical of both sides.
Yeah, but you know who does that? Marjorie Taylor Greene.
She
criticizes
God,
her own
please
team.
just don't even.
So, well, I'm
Oh,
just saying.
God.
I mean, you gotta, in order to have
My son doesn't even like the way she does pull-ups.
Really?
Yes. He sent me a video. She's a CrossFitter.
All right.
I hate to blame her.
James, you got anything?
Well, at 10 o'clock, no, I'm not going to start a new topic.
Okay, there you go. See, James, never.
No,
What, you're going to make us feel like we're missing out because of time?
Well, I would like to do some promotions. First off, I'm having a little bit of success here with my new podcast called Florida Stories. There's 100 episodes that are available wherever you listen to podcasts already. It's totally nonpartisan, non-political. It doesn't matter if you believe in.
You just have to not like Florida.
No. You can love
that.
Florida.
That's okay.
You can love Florida. Look, you can believe in gender theory, or you can believe Jesus rode a dinosaur. I don't care where you're at. You're gonna love it.
Kelly and I going to get a cut of that?
You're going to get a cut? Well, when I get a cut, I'll share with you.
Being the first people in any kind of major media to actually delve into
Floridians.
Floridians, you get credit for coining you're the first persons I heard use the term Floridians.
Right, because
I don't use that, but
doesn't matter. It's the fixation with Florida news stories as being somehow specifically weird. That was us. Now everybody does it.
They really are.
All right.
Weird,
so when you listen to Florida Stories, there's a commercial at the end, and you should buy whatever they tell you. Okay, that's all.
Where can we find your Florida stories? They're very funny.
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, everywhere you listen to podcasts. I have it on most of the outlets there.
Hey, Pugs, have you heard that thing where you just type into Google Florida man and then your date of birth and see what the title comes up? Inevitably, it's some stupid fucking news story that happened. Florida man, and it didn't work for me.
Hold on, Florida man, and then your birthday.
Yeah,
right.
Okay,
it's like some Florida guy stuck his wiener in some.
A Florida man. Yeah.
Florida man helped train first man on the moon. I got.
That's a good one.
I got a good one.
Good. I did not.
Yeah. So go check out Florida Stories and
and enjoy. And James is going to build his addition onto his ranch, his pyramid. James wants to build a pyramid out there.
I do.
Wait a minute, though, Pugs. You have a moon anniversary on your birth.
I do.
Yeah. So that would make sense that would come up.
Hey, by the way,
just getting that now, Cal?
No, I knew that, but I knew it enough to even put it together here.
Right. 30 seconds after everybody else did.
I was like, wait a minute.
Hey, so for my radio mom and dad, Pugs, people don't know, but Pugs and Kelly are my radio mom and dad. Pugs, I just emailed you an audio clip. You want to review like a 1.5 minute critique of my babysitting duties for Kelly 20 years ago?
Shut up.
Dude, we are running into August will be 20 years since I've been on y'all's show. And so we're running into the 20 year
Declan would have been six.
All of these anniversaries are coming up.
All right, here we go.
Yeah,
can we play
it? So this is from March of 2003. March of 2003. Okay.
No, for one thing, James, our intern, has been babysitting.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there was an altercation. Something happened when he babysat last time. The door opened. They opened to get the pizza. The dogs ran out. James has got McKenna on his shoulders and holding Declan's hand, running around the neighborhood, finding the dog. But somehow they had managed to get themselves locked out of the house.
Oh, no.
And so apparently how James remedied this was he threw Declan over the fence, the really tall fence. And Declan had to go in and then unlock the door. But James then apparently told Declan, don't tell your mom that this happened.
Oh no.
But James, lesson number 1, that never works. Because Declan woke up and he goes, Mommy, James threw me over the fence. It was fun. I wanted him to do it again, but he wouldn't do it again.
Not only that, with all the molesters and weirdos out there, kids are programmed now from a very young
Yes.
age to immediately go to their parents when someone says, "Don't tell your parents this."
Yes, and I'm
That's
telling you,
code for tell your parent immediately.
and if Declan ever comes to me and says, something happened with James last night, but he told me not to tell you, I am going to freak out. Don't do that. So so James, just so you know, yes,
James
I'm aware
and
of
I
the fact that
boosted
you
a
were
car.
locked out. It's not that big of a deal. I'm sorry that happened to you. I should probably get you a key.
How about that?
I do remember that.
I don't.
I remember that, just like how when Cody was dog sitting and he got in my house and he had a pizza delivered to the house, but he forgot to order the drink. And so he put the pizza in the center of the kitchen island and went down to the corner store, Pugs. The corner store.
Corner store. Yeah.
To get a 2-liter Pepsi, and he came back and the dog had eaten the entire pizza. He was so pissed. He was so
That's
mad.
awesome. That's
He still brings that up.
Dang-a-lang, I went down to the corner store, got myself a little Mountain Dew, came on back and
Came back, and I couldn't believe it, but the whole pizza box was on the floor, and it was all gone. I'm like, oh yeah, could have told you that was going to happen.
Came along, dang-a-lang, ate all the pizza on me out of my Mountain Dew.
Oh God, you guys are hilarious.
All right.
That's what I was doing 19 years ago.
That's fun.
And now you have your own kids, and you know not to tell them. Don't tell people.
Dude, I did that. I have my older daughter always wants to ride in the front of the truck. So I was like, listen, you can ride in the front of the truck, but you can't tell anybody because we'll get in trouble. And so she's like, hey, my dad told me a secret that I'm not supposed to tell anybody or we'll get in a lot of trouble. And they're like, what is it? She's like, I'm not supposed to tell anybody.
Yeah.
And they're like,
And now you're in
secret?
bigger trouble.
Yeah.
Hey, Kelly, like 27 years ago or so now, when you and I were sitting Indian style outside the studio at WCKG with all of those printed out pictures or stories from Florida saying, man, there sure is a lot of weird stuff that happens in Florida. Did you ever think that our intern would then be turning that into a profit without us?
Good for you, dude. Good for you.
I'm making a few bucks. Go check out Florida Stories wherever you're listening to podcasts.
All
Why
right.
don't you just call it
Spotify seems to
Floridians?
be-
It's such a great name.
I love that name, but I didn't want to completely rip you guys off.
You can have it. You know what? You can have
Yeah.
it because then, the dude that ran us out of Chicago when we were gone for a couple of years started doing a bit called Floridians. So,
Shut up. He did not.
Oh, yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, yeah. Steve did Floridians for a decade. Called it
Another
Floridians.
reason to write on my list of reasons why I'm angry at him.
Hey, no, look. Hey, I choose to believe that it's just a clever name.
Coincidence?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess we do know.
I don't care. Like, I really could not care less.
James, if you want to call it Floridians, you can have it.
Yeah, please do.
I have 100 episodes already of calling it Florida Stories. And
now our name
years.
isn't even good enough. No.
Now I'm doubly
I've
insulted.
moved on. I've moved on. That was long.
Not really, though, because you're doing the same thing. You just call it something
At
different.
all. You're not moved on at all.
Let me make some money and shut up.
All right. There he goes. That's James. Thank you, James. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk. We'll be back tomorrow for whatever. Kelly, thank you so much. There's Kelly.
Hey, well wishes for my daughter with COVID.
Oh, God, that's right.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to come on at some other time?
Hold on. Let me see if I can leave my house. No, I can't. So whenever.
Yeah, just text me. Say
I
wanna
just
come
live
on
here.
tonight. You're always welcome here.
Okay.
Hold on.
Thanks.
All right. So I need all right. So Ed is claiming responsibility for Dahl doing Floridians.
Ed.
I don't
Dare
know.
thee.
I don't know what the story is there. Says, yeah, that was my fault. Sorry. Well, what happened? Like, how is Ed?
Well, he was doing computer stuff with him.
All right.
So they were, I don't know what.
Just gave our name.
I don't know.
No, I honestly don't think that he stole the name. That is not what I'm saying. I just think it's a coincidence.
I really don't care if he did or didn't.
And it's
And like,
funny.
what am I going to do about it now?
And it's a good name. It's a good
It
name.
is. It's good.
It was I was a little bit more. I liked Floridum. a little bit
Yep.
too. But
Mhm.
Floridians is the one that took off.
Yep.
All right. There's Kelly. Thank you,
Okay.
Kelly.
Bye.
I will be back tomorrow at noon, the noon show for High Noon. Join us. That's topics, current events, pop culture, everything you need to know about your day. You can get it all right there. I got to tip the show if you can. We did not make our budget last month, so if you wanna hook us up with a little bit of tip, treat me like your bartender, like your barista. We do 2 shows a day, Monday through Friday. Actually, that's not true. The Pillow Talk show, they happen Monday through Thursday with me and Parker. But, the Monday through Friday show, the High Noon, that'll help. So, typically the first week of the month, I don't chill. I don't ask for donations. But, we didn't make it last month. So, run a little bit dry in the early parts. And then we'll back off. And I'll be all desperate at the end of the month. But anything y'all can do, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you, John. Thank you, Al. John's a great supporter of the show. We appreciate John and all of his help. The Venmo and the PayPal and the Cash App and all of that is down there. Although Venmo's kind of trouble. I've been having, or no, not Venmo. Venmo's great. The PayPal is kind of trouble. So whatever. Jeff, see you at 12:09, Pugs. Okay. That's a shot at me. Because sometimes I'm a little late, but mostly I'm not. And if I'm late, it's because I'm outside doing something or running around. Or thank you to Ed, the boss at Radio Misfits, for the cool ass sign. I want to light it somehow. There's got to be a way to light it. We'll figure that out. I don't know. Okay, so that's it. I had fun tonight. I hope you did as well. We'll see you tomorrow at noon for High Noon. This has been Pugs and Company with Kelly and James Parker on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Bye, everybody.